All right. Well, U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo is headed to China on Sunday to meet with Chinese officials. The Commerce Department writing in a statement, the secretary's visit aims for, quote, constructive discussions on issues relating to the U.S.-China commercial relationship, challenges faced by U.S. businesses, and areas for potential cooperation. Joining me now is Atlas Organization founder Jonathan D.T, the author of the book, The Decisive Decade. Jonathan, talk about this trip for us this morning.
Hi, Cheryl. So, of course, it's the fourth trip by a cabinet-level official from the Biden administration. We've had John Kerry, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and then, of course, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, all go in the last few months. And it may be preparation for Xi Jinping to meet with Biden this autumn in the United States. But, I think the real issue here is that now that diplomacy is the sort of centerpiece of the Biden administration's approach to China, I think they're not really explaining to the United States, to the American people, the nature of this contest, the level of threat that really exists. I mean, we no longer hear about the military buildup. We don't really hear any foregrounding of human rights atrocities. We don't hear a strategy to win a global economic contest, much less to win the overall contest. And I think, Americans at this point do understand that China is our greatest threat. The Russia-China axis, all of what they are doing, I think at this point is clearly understood. And yet this spate of high-level diplomacy, which seeks to achieve precisely what? As, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said with regard to this trip, we view them as managing a method of managing a complex relationship, a competitive relationship, so that competition doesn't tip over into conflict. So if the purpose of all this is to avoid conflict, if we're making concessions in order to get these meetings, if we're failing to actually articulate a theory of victory in the toughest geopolitical contest, of our lifetime, certainly, and definitely since the early Cold War, then what really are we doing? So this is starting to look like really light strategy and light policy, and I think that's real, a genuine concern at this point.
Well, you're making it clear that the reason that these officials, one after the other, keeps getting on a plane and going to China is because they want to get Xi Jinping to meet with President Biden here on U.S. soil. I think that's going to go over like a lead balloon, pun intended. I mean, come on. But I think there could be another motivation here, maybe. I'm going to try and give the president a break on this one because of what's happening with the BRICS nations. This is, again, China and Russia founded BRICS, the economic bloc, but they're expanding it, and I think this is pretty worrisome for the United States. They announced yesterday they voted to add 6 new members: Iran, Saudi Arabia, and more. Argentina's part of that list. I mean, this really does undermine U.S. foreign policy, Jonathan. So maybe Biden's nervous. Maybe that's why they're doing this.
I don't think this is related to the BRICS summit or the expansion of the BRICS, as an entity. I mean, China has a very, sophisticated global strategy. I mean, they're seeking to turn their economic relations with nations around the world into diplomatic power and ultimately military power. And that's all, I think, really well understood. But when you look at the BRICS expansion, I mean, first of all, you're talking about a group of states that includes, very deep rivalries. I mean, China and India are deep, deep rivals. I mean, this also shows the importance of having India on our side. I mean, that should be a centerpiece of U.S. diplomacy. I think we actually have seen some powerful consistency there across administrations. But, BRICS is a $28 trillion in total, and the new nations that they seek to add to it, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, would add about $3 trillion to this. But China's real strategy is the Belt and Road, and I don't think we hear that much about that anymore. I mean, they seek to ultimately do what Mao talked about in diplomatic terms, which was to encircle the developed world, at that time the democratic world, with the emerging nations. So this is really an old Maoist strategy that's become an economic strategy. And, in counterpoint, in today's terms, we have the G7 group of 7 democratic nations, which actually does do some economic policy and strategy, including counter Belt and Road initiatives, and that's a $46 trillion grouping. So, BRICS isn't there. Adding the new nations to that isn't there. But some of them are significant in interesting ways because, for example, once you get Argentina in there, you have the 2 top economies in South America. I mean, Brazil really should be a natural U.S. ally, and yet Lula is the one who's calling for de-dollarization, visiting in Beijing and just too close to Russia and China.
Right. Argentina. We have to wrap it up. Argentina,
Sure.
Egypt, Iran, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. Quite a list. And Xi Jinping's economic problems, I think, to your point that you just spoke to, could be a reason that he's was so eager to get these new members in there. Their real estate sector is crashing like ours did back in 2007. Jonathan D.T. Ward, it's great to see you, Jonathan. Thank you.